The night had a strange stillness as Chen guided his research shuttle out of Meridian Station, carrying more than just his equipment and was transporting Ash. A creature the galaxy had labeled a monster. From the moment he first laid eyes on the Ravager, David had felt an inexplicable bond, something that transcended fear and misunderstanding. Ash's glowing bioluminescent markings pulsed softly, reacting to David's thoughts, as if it could read the subtle intentions that even he struggled to understand in himself. The shuttle hummed under him, the vibrations merging with the tension in the air as alarms suddenly screamed. Council ships had locked weapons onto them, their silhouettes cutting through the darkness of space with precise, threatening movements. David gripped the controls with white-knuckled intensity, muttering to Ash, "Hold on, buddy. This is going to get messy." He pushed the throttle, sending the shuttle twisting and spiraling in desperate maneuvers, trying to avoid the deadly streaks of orange plasma that cut past them, each one capable of ending their journey in a violent flash. Ash's massive paw rested gently on David's shoulder, a silent gesture of reassurance, as if it understood the stakes, the danger, the fragility of life that hung in the balance. Their bond was beyond words. It was survival, instinct, and trust interwoven. David's mind raced as he calculated trajectories, fuel limitations, and the split-second timing required to dodge every bolt while maintaining a course toward freedom. The independent fleet from Haven Colony appeared at the critical moment, a living wall of support and rebellion against the Council's authority, giving David just enough seconds to activate the faster-than-light drive. Hyperspace swallowed them, a violent blur of lights and stars, leaving chaos behind as David slumped in the pilot's seat, exhausted but alive. Ash nudged him, the soft hum of its communication resonating as if to say, "We're in this together." 14 days lay ahead to Haven Colony, 14 days for David to prepare not just for survival but for proving the intelligence and worth of Ash's species to a galaxy that feared them. Haven Colony emerged like a hidden jewel in the void, sprawling across space with modular sections joined in an eclectic but functional tapestry of interstellar engineering. David and Ash docked with precision, stepping out into a hub teeming with life of every imaginable species, a cacophony of communication and motion that made the station feel alive. Dr. Amara, an elderly alien with 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern, approached them with warmth, her gestures graceful despite her age. "We believe you, David. And we believe Ash," she said, her voice calm yet resolute. The quarters were vast, accommodating Ash's immense size while still providing a comfortable and functional space for David to continue his research. Over the ensuing weeks, David observed Ash documenting behavior, communication patterns, and cognitive responses. Ash, in turn, began grasping human words, gestures, and abstract concepts. Together, they crafted a hybrid language, a bridge that transcended biology and culture, allowing profound communication that was previously impossible. David's studies revealed an extraordinary truth: Ravagers were intelligent, empathetic, capable of abstract thought, and socially complex. They had communal upbringing, practice elaborate conflict resolution rituals, and deep familial bonds. They were not monsters but misunderstood beings defending their families and culture. David worked with Dr. Amara to prepare communication strategies for captive Ravagers, planning peaceful interactions that would challenge preconceived notions and reveal the intelligence and sensitivity of these creatures to a skeptical galaxy. But the Council remained a persistent shadow, ever vigilant and resistant to change. Commander Silas, a metallic-skinned officer with cold blue eyes, tracked David and Ash to Haven Colony, determined to enforce the Council's rigid policies. When Silas arrived, David presented meticulous evidence of Ash's intelligence, documented vocalizations, structured behaviors, cultural rituals, and responses from captive Ravagers. Ash remained calm beside David, emanating trust and empathy in every movement. Silas, confronted with the harmonic vocalization mimicking grief, froze, recalling a colony destroyed years prior, a wound long buried yet never forgotten. Silent tears traced the metallic contours of his face as Ash approached, offering comfort without aggression. The moment of shared understanding bridged fear and resentment, forging an unlikely alliance. Silas provided access to Council intelligence, facilitating David's mission to extend peaceful outreach to wild Ravager populations. Haven Colony became a nexus for research, education, and rehabilitation. Even the most aggressive captive, Storm, learned to trust humans, demonstrating that empathy and patience could overcome instinctive fear, providing tangible proof that the species was capable of cooperative interaction and social complexity. Yet the Council's resistance remained structural, deeply embedded in policy and ideology. The classification of Ravagers as existential threats persisted, a legal barrier that maintained fear over understanding. David realized that a decisive action was necessary to force recognition. That we broadcast it, he proposed, aiming for a galaxy-wide hearing where undeniable evidence would challenge entrenched prejudices. The risk was immense. Failure would invite immediate execution orders both for him and for Ash. Silas leveraged his influence to secure the hearing, allowing David and Ash to present their case to billions of sentient beings across the galaxy. As the Galactic Council chamber filled. As the Galactic Council chamber filled, David felt the oppressive weight of history, bureaucracy, and fear pressing down. Ash's calm luminescent glow beside him offered reassurance. David detailed centuries of misjudgment, presenting vocal patterns, behavioral intelligence, and cultural evidence. Silas' testimony added personal accountability, acknowledging past misconceptions and reinforcing the credibility of David's claims. Ash then vocalized a harmonic narrative of its people's history, weaving story, grief, and resilience into a message that transcended language. Leaving the council chamber in profound silence, the deliberation was intense as centuries of fear, prejudice, and inertia confronted undeniable evidence. Yet the combined testimony of David, Ash, Dr. Amara, and Silas proved overwhelming. The council revoked the classification of Ravagers as existential threats, granting legal protection and mandating rehabilitation efforts. Captive Ravagers were released under careful supervision, and operations targeting wild populations were suspended. David and Ash were celebrated as pioneers of understanding, the embodiment of courage and empathy overcoming institutionalized fear. Commander Silas was recognized for his integrity in questioning long-standing biases. The applause, both virtual and physical, echoed across the chamber. Though dissent lingered at the margins, a reminder that progress was hard-won, this victory marked not just legal change but a shift in perception, demonstrating the potential for empathy, intelligence, and courage to redefine interspecies relations across the galaxy. David and Ash settled into Haven Colony, a vibrant station orbiting a serene planet untouched by council politics. The hub bustled with life, creatures of every species moving in organized chaos, and the walls hummed with energy and communication channels. Dr. Amara welcomed them warmly, her 4 eyes twinkling with wisdom and hope. We believe in you both, she said, gesturing to Ash. The quarters were expansive, accommodating Ash's massive frame while allowing space for David's research. Over the following weeks, David meticulously documented Ash's behaviors, learning dozens of vocalizations and their meanings. Ash responded in kind, understanding simple human words and gestures. Together, they forged a hybrid language allowing communication beyond words. David's studies revealed the intelligence, empathy, and cultural complexity of Ravagers. They had communal child-rearing, ritualized conflict resolution, and deep familial bonds. They weren't monsters, they were survivors, misunderstood and feared. David and Dr. Amara prepared strategies to communicate with captive Ravagers, hoping to prove peaceful interactions were possible. Despite their progress, the council's shadow loomed large. Commander Silas, metallic-skinned and sharp-eyed, tracked David and Ash to Haven Colony. He arrived prepared to enforce the council's policies. But David presented irrefutable evidence of Ash's intelligence, cultural documentation, complex vocalizations, and behavioral observations. Ash remained calm, projecting trust and empathy. Silas, confronted by a vocalization reflecting grief, froze, recalling a destroyed colony from his past. The memory brought tears, and Ash approached slowly, offering understanding. The connection forged an unlikely alliance. Silas shared council intelligence, aiding David's mission to reach wild Ravager populations. Haven Colony became a hub for rehabilitation, proving that Ravagers could be guided and educated, fostering trust and cooperation with humans. One aggressive captive, Storm, initially terrified and defensive, became a turning point. Ash's guidance calmed the creature, teaching trust and cooperation. Human researchers observed as bonds formed, showing the potential for Ravagers to integrate peacefully with other species. News spread rapidly, attracting more stations and researchers eager to witness the intelligence and empathy of Ravagers firsthand. The colony flourished as a center of interspecies understanding. David's research became more than academic, it was a movement toward reconciliation and unity. The Ravagers' true nature slowly emerged from fear and prejudice, reshaping perceptions across the galaxy. The Council, however, remained a barrier. Policies classifying Ravagers as existential threats persisted. David realized that a decisive action was required. We broadcast it, he said, proposing a galaxy-wide hearing. Failure could mean death, yet success promised recognition and protection for Ash's species. Silas leveraged his influence, arranging the public hearing. David and Ash prepared meticulously, rehearsing vocalizations and demonstrations of intelligence. The chamber filled with council members, representatives, and viewers across the galaxy. Ash's luminescent glow radiated calm, strengthening David's resolve. The evidence presented was overwhelming: centuries of misjudgment, cultural studies, behavioral data, and emotional intelligence, Silas testified, admitting past errors and validating David's claims. Ash vocalized a harmonic storytelling of their species' history, grief, and determination. The chamber fell silent, unable to deny the truth before them. After intense deliberation, the council revoked the classification of Ravagers as threats. Legal protections were granted. Captive Ravagers were released for rehabilitation, and outreach operations began under careful guidance. David and Ash were hailed as pioneers, while Silas was recognized for integrity and courage in reassessing his prejudices. The applause echoed, a milestone for understanding and diplomacy. Change was gradual, but hope had been restored. The victory was not only legal but symbolic, demonstrating that empathy, courage, and knowledge could triumph over fear. David and Ash became ambassadors for Ravager human relations, traveling to research stations, guiding rehabilitation, and fostering communication with wild populations. Ravagers cautiously responded to contact, gradually learning trust. Haven Colony expanded as a center for interspecies cooperation. David established the Institute for Interspecies Understanding, with Dr. Amara as director and Silas overseeing security. Interactions were not always perfect. Incidents occurred, but each presented learning opportunities. The narrative shifted from fear to curiosity. From aggression to collaboration, David's initial academic pursuit had transformed into a galaxy-wide mission, proving that understanding and patience could reshape interstellar relationships. Storm, once aggressive and frightened, now coexisted peacefully with its human partner, River, providing a living testament to the possibilities of trust and empathy. Each new Ravager integrated into the colony further strengthened bonds between species. Observers from across the galaxy arrived to witness rehabilitated Ravagers. And the success stories became a beacon of hope. David's documentation of behavior, communication, and social structures formed the foundation for new interspecies policies. The once feared Ravagers were now symbols of intelligence, empathy, and resilience. David reflected on their journey as he watched Ash interacting with newly arrived Ravagers. The subtle nuances of vocalizations, gestures, and behaviors conveyed understanding beyond words. The hybrid language they created allowed precise communication, fostering collaboration between humans and Ravagers. Dr. Amara and Silas worked alongside them, establishing protocols for care, education, and peaceful coexistence. The colony thrived, becoming a hub for learning, diplomacy, and compassion. The galaxy began to witness a new paradigm: monsters could be friends. Misunderstood species could teach empathy, and trust could replace fear. The sun rose over Haven Colony, casting golden light across the station's modules. David, Ash, Storm, River, and other humans and Ravagers gathered to witness the beauty of a new day. The station hummed with life, voices, and movements harmonizing in a symphony of cooperation. They had achieved what once seemed impossible, bridging the gap between species, demonstrating intelligence, empathy, and moral agency where fear once reigned. The galaxy watched and learned. Courage, patience, and trust were the keys to understanding. David sat beside Ash, smiling at the playful interactions around him. River approached, asking if he ever regretted the risks they had taken. David shook his head. Not for a second, he said. Ash hummed softly, a sound that resonated with family belonging and the bond they had nurtured. Together, they looked outward into the stars, the infinite possibilities stretching before them. The galaxy remained full of unknowns, challenges, and dangers, but also hope, friendship, and cooperation. David, Ash, and their extended family of humans and Ravagers represented a future where empathy triumphed over fear, intelligence over prejudice, and courage over passivity. Whatever tomorrow brought, they would face it together. The lessons of understanding and trust were etched into every heart in Haven Colony, and beyond. Their story was a testament to the power of connection, proving that the bravest act in the galaxy was to see a creature feared as a monster and choose to see a friend. And as the stars shimmered endlessly, David whispered to Ash, "This is only the beginning, buddy," and Ash's soft glow pulsed in agreement, ready for whatever came next.